video today, it's just saying what you might be getting wrong about your weight loss journey. So if you are somebody who's been trying to lose weight for a while or manage your weight and you're struggling and you're a lady, then please do not listen to people who say that it's just about calories in and calories out. Because although there is an element of truth to that, obviously, that's too simplistic. And actually, particularly for women, and I'll say a bit more about that in a moment, but also women over maybe over 40, things become a lot more complicated. And by simply reducing your calories more and more, you're actually likely to be shooting yourself in the foot and making it almost impossible to lose weight, even if you eat barely anything. So I'm not saying that food isn't relevant, because it is, but calories don't all behave in the same way. So for example, it's the calories from carbohydrate. There's fewer calories in a spoonful of carbohydrate than there is in a spoonful of fat, but the carbohydrate is what upsets your blood sugar balance and might lead to weight gain, whereas the fat keeps it all level and even. I'm not suggesting that you should go on a low carbohydrate diet necessarily, because that's another thing that can also cause problems. So let me break it down a little bit for you. So some of the underlying issues about weight loss resistance includes low level insulin resistance. So if you've got a little bit of insulin resistance, which is it's undetected pre-diabetes, if you have a little bit of that, we go into a bit more of a pre-diabetic, an insulin resistant state a little bit more when we're perimenopausal. And so that means that our relationship with carbohydrates is a lot more tricky, and we can find that it spikes our blood sugar a lot more. So that's something that, if it's not addressed, it is really hard to shift the weight. But it's not just a question of just cutting calories or cutting carbohydrates. You have to look at yourself as a whole person, because actually, if we cut the carbs too severely, the thyroid doesn't like it, and then the thyroid will slow everything down, and your whole basal metabolic rate will just slow down, and you'll find it really difficult to shift some weight. So you do need to take a holistic approach. A holistic approach is a much slower approach. It's not like, oh, I'm just dropping the pounds, This is something that takes a while, takes a good few months, but really it's not just about managing your weight, it's actually about long-term health and getting yourself feeling good in more ways than just that. So making sure that you are, first of all, maybe you need to do some blood tests, get your thyroid checked, because actually if you have been cutting the calories and you've been on a diet a while, or you've been on a low carb diet, been doing loads of fasting, it is possible that your thyroid is struggling. Thyroid tests sometimes can be a little bit not thorough. A TSH level on its own doesn't give the full picture of thyroid health. The reference ranges are very broad, so it is quite helpful to get a more comprehensive test, because if your thyroid is a little bit under functioning, then it's going to be very difficult for you to lose weight at all. So if you've been through a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, any trauma, then again, think about your thyroid. So yeah, if you've done loads of fasting, lots of weight loss diets, poor sleep as well, that can also affect the thyroid. So any of these sorts of things, start with getting your thyroid checked, because that would be a good place to start. And your thyroid needs nutrients. It needs nurturing and nutrients. So unfortunately, the action plan for if your thyroid needs help is giving it all the nutrients it needs, giving it nourishing food. So it's not about starving ourselves. It is actually about nourishing ourselves with the right foods, because the different foods behave differently in the body and affect the way that we hold on to weight or not. Let me just look at my list. What else? So stress as well can also push up your stress hormones, and the stress hormone cortisol can actually elevate blood sugar levels. So you can be walking around with elevated blood sugar levels when you don't even eat sugary foods or too much alcohol or anything like that. So even if your diet is good, your blood sugar levels can still be high if you've gone through a lot of stress, or if perhaps you sleep really badly. So thinking about that side of things is really important as well. And again, this all links into as well too much fasting. If you do too much fasting, that can raise your stress hormones as well, making it difficult to lose weight. What else? Hormones, obviously, as the hormones change, sometimes in perimenopause, what actually happens is that it's not just about plummeting estrogen levels. What can happen is the progesterone goes down first. And sometimes this can cause estrogen dominance. And when the estrogen is dominant, that can put us into a bit more of a insulin resistant state as well. So that's another thing that I sort of touched on before. So getting the hormones balanced might be part of your picture. And another really key thing for weight loss, which has got nothing to do with food and exercise, is sleep. So if you are not getting enough sleep or quality sleep, this could be the missing part of the puzzle for weight loss for you. So have a think about, is there anything you can do to change what's happening in terms of sleep? Is there any way you can improve your sleep, get to bed earlier? You know, can you support that a little bit? And if your poor sleep is down to, you know, not feeling good, not aches and pains or hot flushes, then it's sort of obviously having to support that sort of area as well. So really prioritize sleep. But if it's a question of just burning the candle at both ends or just staying up a bit later, just try going to bed at a decent time. Another thing that can really affect your ability to lose weight is your exposure to daylight and your vitamin D status. So vitamin D has a major role in metabolic health and can really start to trigger this sort of weight loss. If you imagine weight loss is a bit like, your ability to lose weight is a bit like a furnace burning. You do need to put some fire in that furnace, and that's why we need to get all the systems working perfectly well. So vitamin D status is really important, but also daylight as well. So the daylight is telling our body what to do. It's giving the hormones lots of instructions. So, you know, consider your daylight and also your blue light exposure, because too much blue light exposure can also cause us to hold on to weight. So try to reduce your screen exposure in the evenings. Maybe consider blue light blocking glasses. Get your daylight in the morning, first thing in the morning. Get outside and get some daylight, even if it's a cloudy day. Just that can make a big difference as well. So anything else on my list? I think that might be it for now. But yeah, so it's not about killing yourself in the gym. It's not about starving yourself to death. It is about nourishing yourself, good sleep, and getting to the roots of things. And actually, talking of exercise, obviously I'm not a fitness instructor, but it is possible to struggle when you're going crazy with cardio and not getting the results, because actually too much of that can raise up the stress hormones as well. So do speak to your fitness instructor or your personal trainer, or whoever it is that you do exercise with, and see if you can get some resistance or some weights or something like that, because muscle itself is a metabolic organ that really is putting the fuel in the fire of your furnace to help you burn weight. So you need good muscles. You need good muscle mass. So that could be the other missing part of the puzzle for you as well. It could be just the type of exercise you're doing. So I hope you find that helpful.